Herman with Salt Lake City Fire Department. This is a quick video describing the functions of our new Wildland firefighting radios. Today is Friday, August 16th, 2019. So our department was fortunate to get some grant money to be able to purchase some wildland firefighting radios. The model we've selected is the Bendex King KNG2P150 radio. And basically it's going to be useful both for wildland firefighting operations on the east side of Salt Lake City if we are interacting with state or federal assets, and also in the event that we are deployed out of state for wildland firefighting, we will take these radios with us. The way that they essentially operate, for the most part, is they are conventional line-of-sight radios. So basically, for the most part, you're going to be talking firefighter to firefighter, although in the Salt Lake Valley, there are some repeated channels or repeated channels that may actually be utilized for command operations. And we essentially have 30 of these available. Basically, we're going to keep about 15 in a stash that will be used for deployments out of state. And then the other remaining radios will be sent to the wildland fire stations. We'll have one for the Type 6, one for each engine, and then we'll also have these radios in the Battalion 1 and Battalion 2 vehicles. So here are some of the basic functions of the Bendex King radios. Starting from the top, right here we have the on-off and volume control. Twist that to the right till you hear a click and it'll be on the on position. And then of course you can increase the volume this way as well. Here's your channel select. Kind of like our Apex radios, we basically have 16 channels per zone, and I'll talk about the zones in just a sec. Basically, there are two modes of scan. We have this scan right here, which is basically the addition of various channels that you will be including in scan. We'll talk about that in just a sec. This is how you turn that version of scan on and off. And this is known as priority scan. Priority scan allows you to basically select one channel in the radio that will kind of supersede all others that you want to hear. This could be a command channel or, air to ground, whatever it is that you want to make priority. You'll notice that we have an emergency notification button. Unfortunately, with the conventional radios that we're using, this doesn't do a whole lot. In the future, if we ever go to a digital radio system or a trunked system, we'll be able to go ahead and utilize this feature. And then this button right here, this kind of on-off thing, we don't use that at all. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that at all. Here is the front of the radio. Basically, there are four options available to you, and they are indicated here. There's the menu button right here, so select this to get to the main menu. If you want to select channels for scan, you're going to hit this button right here. It's called the Scan Plus thing. If you want to access priority scan, you're going to press this down triangle and hit priority. And then if you want to select zones, you hit this square right here, and that's how you'll get there. And we'll talk about all of these functions in turn. On the side of the radio, up at the top here, there's a button here, which is something called monitor. If you press that button, basically it displays a speaker symbol on your screen. And this is something that we are not using today, but we may use it at some point in time in the future. The second button right here is for screen brightness. You'll go ahead and click that and then look at the main screen, and there are some options that you can choose using the up and down arrow keys. This is of course your push to talk. And then on the left-hand side of the radio, you basically have this port right here for accessories and for cloning. So basically, we have some remote shoulder mics that you'll be able to clip onto there. Also, this is the thing that you'll utilize, you'll connect a cable to whenever you're cloning the channels of another fire department into your radio. So this is how you swap out the battery. Basically, what you're going to go ahead and do is just grab push on that black portion of the radio, the clip thing, and it just pops right off. All of the Bendex King radios that we have basically have these batteries that are essentially shells for AA's. Each of these orange battery cases takes 8 AA batteries, and let me show you how this works. Basically, all you'll do is you'll push down on that orange piece at the very top and then gently pull the battery cover off, and then you can go ahead and put new batteries in. Let's talk about the main menu. Basically, on the main screen there, if you want to access the menu options here, you basically go ahead and press this diamond. And where you're going to come to is basically this screen right here. There are three options available to you. The first is called Zone Select, which mimics this Zone Select over here, so it's an identical function. If you hit the down arrow right here, you can get to where you can do cloning, and we're going to talk about that in a different video. This is just kind of the basics. And the third option here, down arrow, it's going to be keypad programming. We're not going to talk about that here as well. That'll be something in kind of an advanced training on this. To get to any of these areas, you simply use the arrow keys to select what you want and then press enter. If you've selected Zone Select, then basically it's going to take you to this area right here. 1 through 4 zones are basically used for state of Utah operations. And if you're dealing with a wildland fire on the east side of Salt Lake City, you're going to be dealing with zone number 1 pretty much all the time, essentially. Zone number 1 basically has all of the TAC, air-to-ground, and command channels that you'll need for our region. But if we're deployed to a wildland fire somewhere outside of Salt Lake City, you may go to one of these other zones. Zone 5 through Zone 7 are basically the clonable zones. So essentially, if you go to California, for example, and basically you want to get another firefighter's radios into yours, what you'll do is you'll select Zone 5, 6, or 7, and that's where you will clone those channels into, essentially. And we'll talk about that in a separate video regarding cloning. The next thing we're going to talk about is Scan Select, one of the basic functions here. Up in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, basically, the first thing we're going to talk about is this Scan Plus feature. And as I mentioned before, basically it allows you to go ahead and select multiple channels to scan. In the case of wildland firefighting operations on the east side of Salt Lake City, or in our region, it's going to be very common to go ahead and select 3 different channels for scanning. 1 for command, 1 for air-to-ground, and then 1 also for tactical. And the tactical channel that you're assigned to is the one that you're going to be operating off of primarily. It's the one that you want to have selected with the knob at the very top of the radio. And let me show you how this version of selecting channels for scanning works. Scan Plus, select the channel by using the arrow keys, hit enter. When you're done, hit escape, and it says it's saved. So basically, once you have those selected, you'll want to go ahead and make sure that the scan toggle switch on the top of the radio is turned on. The next thing we're going to talk about is priority scan. Basically, priority scan, as mentioned before, allows you to take one channel and make it have priority over everything else. Let me give you a quick example of how this works. I'm going to go ahead and hit play here. So you see, I'll hit option number 3, and then basically hit the select button. From here, he can select whatever channel you want to in zone number 1, and hit enter when you're done. Keep in mind that when you are scanning, you are going to transmit over the channel you have selected using the knob at the very top of the screen, not the channel that's being scanned at the time. So it is a feature we can turn on if we want to transmit over a scanned channel, a channel you're hearing via scan, but that is currently turned off. So that's it as far as basic functions of these radios. If you have any questions, please make contact with radio technician extraordinaire Glenn Hollander. His number is 801-671-4122. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.